Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi allazina istafa amma ba'd fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim bismillahir rahmanir rahim wa qada rabbuka alla ta'budu illa iyyahu wa bil walidayni ihsana subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم ربي يسر ولا تؤسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين ربي زدني علما يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح. If there is one thing that does not wait for anyone, that does not hold any prisoners, that does not like to wait for anyone, that is time. Time is constantly moving. Time is constantly passing. Either you keep up with it or you lose out. And the beauty about the time moving is that there would come a time then it would cease to exist for you, or it would cease to exist for all of us. When that time comes and who would go first, we do not know. We do not know whether our time will be up today, tomorrow, day after, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 16, 20, 25, 30, 35. We just do not know. But the fact is that it would be up. If there is anything that one must be careful about, or one must give attention to, or one must give due regard to, it is time. It was just a few weeks ago that and it feels like yesterday, where we said that let's start preparing for Ramadan. The month of Rajab has started. It's a month that Rasulullah said, let's prepare for Ramadan. When Rajab starts, this is the month for cultivating the soil. The month of Shaban would come, that's the month of harvesting, watering the seeds, and the month of Ramadan is then the month of enjoying the fruits of what you have harvested. And now here we are, and the month of Rajab is just coming to an end. Yesterday, I believe, was the 27th of Rajab, and we are now just at the brink of entering into Shaban. It is indeed a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has given us this opportunity, that we started worrying about Ramadan from the very word go. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us an opportunity, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a chance, and we do not pay heed to it, then that is kufran-i-ni'mat. That is being unthankful. We are lucky that it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's on the other end, because He still gives us a chance. He still says, alright, let me give you one more chance, one more try, one more chance. Had it been one of us, we would have said that I gave you an opportunity, you haven't taken it, you have been unthankful to me, just go away, I don't want to give you any more. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us an opportunity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a chance that right from the beginning, He put it in our hearts that let's start doing something about Ramadan. Let's take a lead advantage. Let's prepare for something which is very, very important that is coming your way. If we haven't still started giving it a thought, despite all the opportunity, despite all the reminders that are coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we need to worry that where are we going? What is holding us back? What more needs to happen for us to be reminded that we need to take care of ourselves? We need to take care of ourselves in this dunya so that we can make this dunya a source of success in the akhirah. Always remember that you cannot, if you are unprepared for anything, it will come across on the very first few words that you utter. If we do not prepare for this dunya, in this dunya, then the very first three questions that we would be asked, Man Rabbuka, Man Rasulaka, Ma Dinuka, we would fail. We would not know how to answer these questions. The time to prepare for these questions is now. Similarly, the time to prepare to get the blessings of Ramadan is now. It is not when the month of Ramadan starts that we start preparing for it. Allah's rahmat is endless. Do not get me wrong. Allah would still allow us to, get the benefit from it. But if we really, really want to secure all the benefits that Allah has put in that month, we need to prepare for it. A person who wants to secure gold, for some people, just participating in Olympics is good enough. They are honored that they are an Olympian, they got the chance to represent their country. That in itself is a big honor, no doubt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us into Ramadan in the state of Iman. If we look at the number of people that exist in this world and the number of people who are in the state of Iman, and the ones who are actually in the state of Iman are fasting, and the ones who are actually adhering to all the aspects of fast and are fulfilling their duties of fast as they are meant to be, probably the proportion would come down to the same as the number of people who get the chance to compete in the in Olympics compared to the number of people that are that are athletes. It would come down to probably the same amount of proportion. So just being an Olympian in itself is a great honor. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to enter the Ramadan in the state of Iman and allows us to fast with all its proper etiquettes and all the rules and regulation and just live through Ramadan, that in itself is a great honor. But then there are those who get gold in Olympics. There are those who get silver in Olympics. There are those who stand on that podium and they have the medal. That is Ahsan. That is Ahsan. We want to understand what is Ahsan. This is what Ahsan is. To do to the best of your ability, to do that where you yourself can say that I couldn't have done it better. You can look at yourself in the mirror, look into your eyes and say, I have done whatever I could do to the best of my ability. I couldn't have done it better. That is what Ihsan is. It's not that you have done it perfectly. It is that you have done it to the best of your capability. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us an opportunity to prepare for the month of Ramadan so that when we enter the month of Ramadan, we could do the best of what we could do, and in the end hope to be on that podium, in the end hope to be among the medalists who get through the Ramadan securing something. And do you know what is the medal of Ramadan? The medal of Ramadan is that the rest of the year you get to live in the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You get to live with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala overpowering your heart more than anything else. That is the medal of Ramadan. The medal of Ramadan, my Hazrat says that, when there's he again gives the example of cricket. He says that there's a domestic series that you have before any upcoming international major series, and the one who performs well in that series, he is certain that I would then be shortlisted for the next upcoming international series. So the one who performs well in Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shortlists him for selection for Hajj. One of the success criteria for Ramadan is that you get to go and perform Hajj. And if not that, then you get the call at least to come and perform Umrah. Now, this does not mean that those who do not get called for Hajj and Umrah, their Ramadan is not accepted. That's just one example. That you get to do more. You get to do more. You get the tawfiq of doing more and more in path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what Ramadan does for you. So take this seriously. Take this preparation seriously. And what we have been focusing on, we have not till now focused on anything of you doing good. That you do more of tasbihat, you do more of this, you do more of that. All we have been focusing on, what is it that we don't need to do? We are very, very good at doing more, but we are very, very reluctant to let go of things which we shouldn't be doing. And we need to be focusing on letting go of things that we shouldn't be doing. I give a very simple example that if you're holding a glass in your hand or a cup in your hand and somebody is pouring milk in that cup, and after they are done pouring, you would want to sip that milk and you would find that the cup is empty. You will look at the cup and you will find that there are holes in that cup which cause all the milk to leak out of that cup. Would you consider yourself a lucky person that somebody just poured the milk in your cup without you having the chance to sip that milk? No, you'll say that I missed out. I had a glass, I had somebody who was pouring milk, And yet, when it came to my drinking that milk, that the milk wasn't there. This is what happens. Our heart is that container. That milk is that noor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that comes down. And the sins that we do are the holes that get punctured our heart. And that milk, that noor that is coming down on it, keeps on getting leaked. It never gets retained in our heart. It never gets retained in our heart. We can do all the good things and all that noor would come. But what good would it be if we are not able to feel that noor in our lives, if we are not able to feel the barakat of that noor in our lives? We want to retain that noor, and we can retain that noor by puncturing, by fixing those punctures that we have, by fixing those holes that we have. And that is what we are focusing on. Let's be clear about our objective. Let's be clear about our objective. We are going to send 2 more sessions, today's session and the next session, on fixing this, and then inshallah we'll move, as we move into Shaban, we'll move into now then accumulating that noor that will help us, that elevating that spirit of ours that will help us get going from day 1 of Ramadan, inshallah. So we still have chance. If you haven't paid attention to these things, think about it. We spoke about introspection last time. We spoke about thinking about what is it that we are doing that is wrong. And then I said that there are 4 things. There are 4 things which are like that those silly mistakes that an athlete makes that just disqualifies him straight away from Olympics. He has done everything. He has even competed in the best manner. He has even won the gold medal. But yet, because he was found guilty of one of these 4 sub-laws, which said that the Olympic Committee had said that if you do them, you would be disqualified. He had one of those and he got disqualified. And the 4 things that Rasulullah ﷺ said that one must not have is addiction to alcohol, disobedience of parents, you cutting your ties with your relatives, and having animosity in your heart, having kina in your heart. And I'll explain. The reason I've used the word kina is because I want to explain that further. When we spoke about addiction, although the words of Hadith are related to the addiction of alcohol, but we must use that to understand that addiction to anything is wrong. Addiction to any sin is wrong. We must control that. And comes to addiction to sinning, there are different areas. Shahwat has different aspects. The first shahwat aspect is when we want to eat more, when we do not even realize that this is shahwat. But most of us, we are indulgent in this. Ask yourself, are you somebody who stops eating before his stomach is full? If you are free of this indulgence. If you aren't, then you have an issue. You have an issue. And the one who has control on what he eats, and the one who ensures that he eats well, and the one who ensures he eats tayyib, is the one who is then able to control the rest of the spiritual diseases. We are a product of what we eat. We are a product of what we eat. If we eat garbage, we will be garbage ourselves. Our actions will be garbage as well. If we eat good stuff, we would have the strength to do good. We would have the strength to fight evil. The next shahwat is what we do with our eyes and what we do with our private parts. We got to control that as well. We got to control that as well. We got to control that as well. We got to stop ourselves from these temptations that we have. And that, inshallah, we will talk about that, how that comes into play. To control your shahwat with regards to your eyes and regards to your private part requires you to do certain actions, which when I start talking about what amal needs to be done, we'll cover that in those areas. But keep this in mind. These are like holes. These are the punctures that we put that allow all that good actions to sweep away. These needs to be checked. These needs to be checked. These needs to be controlled. The next thing that Rasulullah ﷺ spoke about is about walidain, about parents. And parents are an extremely important factor of our lives. If there is anyone who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given emphasis on respecting, it is parents. So much so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where He has asked for Himself to be worshipped and declared as one Right after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right after that, has said, be kind to your parents. The reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives that much importance to the parents is because parents have they have a commonality with one of the sift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you know which sift is that? Being the sift of being Rabb. Rabb in Arabic means somebody who nurtures, who takes you from the point of when you are in your infancy all the way to your maturity and fulfills all your needs. Rabb is somebody who is kind. Rabb is somebody who is worried about you. Rabb is somebody who wants good for you. Rabb is somebody who wants to ensure that all your needs are fulfilled. Rabb wants to see you happy. Rabb wants to see you in good health. Rabb wants to do anything or everything that will ensure that you get what you wish. That is who Rabb is. And that quality of Rabb, that quality of taking care, that instinct of being nice, that instinct of that take whatever I have, but please just make sure that you get what you want, is there in our parents. Is there in our parents. So the parents share that quality of Rabb with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given so much importance to that of Rabb. I'll start off by saying that how important this is, and then I'll run down to say that what does it mean to take care of one's parents. There comes a hadith in which Rasulullah was once climbing the steps of his mimbar, the pulpit where he goes and stands and gives sermons. He was walking up, and he climbed the first step and he said Ameen. He climbed the second step and he said Ameen. He climbed the third step and he said Ameen. And then he spoke to the Sahaba Ikram who were there, and then when he came down, the Sahaba Ikram Ajma'in, they said, Ya Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we have not seen you do something that you have done today, which we have seen you do something today which you have not done before, and we want to know, why did you say Ameen thrice while you were climbing the steps? Rasulullah said that as I was climbing each step, Jibreel Amin alayhi salam, he came to me, and with each step of mine he made a dua and he said, say Ameen. So I said Ameen. So Sahaba Ikram said, Ya Rasulullah, what were the duas that Jibreel Amin said to which you were asked to say Ameen to? So he said that as I climbed the first step, Jibreel Amin said, destruction to the one who finds the month of Ramadan and lets it pass by without gaining forgiveness. Destruction to the one who finds the month of Ramadan and lets it pass by without finding forgiveness or without gaining forgiveness. And he said to me, say Ameen, and I said Ameen. Next step I climbed, he said, destruction to the one in front of whom my name is taken and he does not say salawat on my name. So I said Ameen. So destruction to the one in front of whom the name of Rasulullah is taken and that person does not send salawat on Rasulullah, may he be destroyed. And Rasulullah said Ameen to that. The third dua that Jibreel Amin alayhi salam he made, he said that destruction to the one who finds his parents in his lifetime, one of them or both of them, and they reach the old age and he does not enter Jannah through serving them. So Jibreel Amin made a dua that the person be destroyed who finds his parents in old age in his lifetime and does not gain Jannah by serving them, may that person be destroyed. And Rasulullah said Ameen to that. Dua is being made by Jibreel Amin, the best of the angels, and Ameen is being said by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the best of the messengers. When two of the best of the creations of the Creator are making this dua and saying Ameen to it, this is an accepted dua for sure. There's no doubt about it. And then we saw that a person who finds Ramadan, who finds Laylatul Qadr, and if he is disobedient to his parents, he is deprived of that blessed night as well. So not only do we end up destroying our Ramadan, we end up, by disobedience of our parents, we also become one of those who have a curse from Jibreel Ameen, upon whom Rasulullah had said Ameen. So we end up, and we thereby qualify for the two of the things for which Jibreel Ameen made dua and Rasulullah said Ameen. Lost the Ramadan and disobedience to the parents. That's how important the parents are. That's how important the parents are. The obedience to parents is something that has been there that was commanded to the children of Adam alayhi salam, and it has stayed consistent all the way up to the Shariat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is one thing that has not been abrogated in any of the Shariats. The respect of parents has been there forever and has always been there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in different places in Quran mentioned the importance of respecting parents, has given the importance of being obedient to the parents. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that I give that order, that it has been written, it has been ordained that you worship your Rabb. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using the word Rabb as though that there is no one except him. That you worship your Rabb as though that there is no one besides him. He is the only one who is there. There is no one else that is there. And then right after that, he says, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And be kind to your parents. Be kind to your parents. Be kind to your parents. As I said, the two rules, the two injunctions are combined with a wow, with an atf of wow. And in Arabic, when this happens, that means that two are equal, that two are interlinked, that one cannot exist without the other. There has to be done. That is what the importance of this is. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. And your Lord has decreed that you worship none but Him. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And be good to your parents. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala carries on in this ayat, and He says, إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ أَحْدُهُمَا أَوْ كِلَاهُمَا. That if any one of them or both of them reach the old age, then فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفْ. Then do not say even uff to them. An expression. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using an expression in Quran. He's saying do not even say uff to them. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَنْحَرْهُمَا. That do not scold them. Do not scold them. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا. And say nice words to them, and address them with respectful words. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not end over here. And then He gives further commands. He says, وَأَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنْ رَحْمَةٍ. That you submit yourself before them in humility out of compassion. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. And then make a dua for them. Make a dua for them that, Ya Allah, be merciful to them as they brought me up in my childhood. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا. Again the word Rabbir Hamhuma, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala referring Himself as Rabb, and then Kama Rabbayani, and using the same word in its literal sense, that the way they were kind to me, the way they brought me up when I was a young child. I'll just delve a bit further on the different commands that have come in this ayah in itself. The first ayah that comes is فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفْ. The first etiquette that we are being taught in this ayat is that when either of your parents or both of them, they reach their old age, then فَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفْ. That do not even say uff to them. Which means that when they ask you for something, in their old age, they do not understand things. They are handicapped. They take time to listen to things. They take time to understand things. Do not say oof. Do not even give an expression of frustration. Do not even give an indication that it is bugging you. Do not even imply that they're asking you of they're asking of something has bugged you. In fact, rather be like this. This is the next etiquette that's being taught, that wala tanharhuma, wala tanharhuma. And because they ask you something, they say something to you, and just because now you are grown up and you are independent, and rather they are dependent upon you, do not feel the liberty that just because they are now dependent upon you, you can raise your voice with them. I do not even want to say that scold them. Scolding them is an extreme. I'm saying do not even raise their voice with them. Do not raise your voice with them. Do not even, at times we do not even raise our voice. At times the kids just, give a stare to their parents, as though they just through their eyes, just like the, as parents we give stares to our kids, just telling them that, I do not want to hear anything further. At times we, may Allah forgive us, we use the same stares towards our parents. We do not say anything to them. We just look at them that tell them that I don't want to hear any further. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, don't even do that. But if you have to do anything, وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا, that speak to them with respect. Speak to them with respect. Speak to them with dignity. Speak to them as though you are their slave, as though they are your superior. If your boss is an annoying person, nobody dares goes and stares down the boss. Nobody dares go down and raises the voice with the CEO. You still say kind words to him. You still are nice to him. Be like that with your parents. Be like that with your parents. وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنْ رَحْمَةٍ. This literally translates as that spread the wings in front of them with rahmah. But that means that you submit yourself. You bitch jaye unke samne. Submit yourself. Be humble to them. Be humble to them. Be humble to your parents. Be humble to your parents. And the fifth adab that we are being taught is وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا. That make dua for your parents after you have controlled your expressions in front of them, after you have controlled your voice in front of them, after you have humbled yourself, after you have submitted yourself to them, then make dua for them. Make dua for them. Make dua for your parents. Make dua for your parents. Make dua, and it comes in in tafsir that the minimum amount that the child must make dua for his parents is at least 5 times in a day. At least 5 times in a day. And it is the if and that is the minimum, and that is to say that in every prayer include this dua, Rabbirhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira, Rabbirhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira. At least have that. If you don't have that, you are missing out. Somebody said to Rasulullah, or Rasulullah, I had my mother on my back, and in this heat I did the entire Hajj by having her on my back. She climbed on my back and I carried her on my back, and we did the entire Hajj. Have I, and in some other hadith it says that I just did the tawaf, and he said that have I paid back the haqq of my mother, what she has done for me? Rasulullah said that you haven't done as much as one breath. You haven't even done that much haqq of hers. In another hadith he said that when you were a child, when she cut your nails and she threw them, even that you haven't paid off by doing this hajj that you have done. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah An'am, he says, قُلْ تَعَالَوْا. When we say, in Arab over here we come across this expression, we say ta'al. We call people over. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam the same thing. قُلْ تَعَالُوا. That call them over. أَتُلْ مَا حَرَّمَ رَبُّكَ عَلَيْكُمْ. And as though call them, and let me tell you few things that your Rabb has taught. So it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling, is asking the people to come close. He's asking people that come pay attention. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that call the people and tell them to come close. Listen, something important is being about to be said. Kul ta'alu atul harrama rabbuka alaykum. Come and I shall recite whatever your Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited for you. Allah tushriku bihi shay'a, that do not associate anything with him. Number one thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden, important thing, important message that is coming straight from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hot off the press. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam being is asked to tell it to you. What is that? Allah tushriku bihi shay'a, number one, and with the injunction of wow, with the atf of wow, the next thing that comes, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calling people, come listen to this so important, very important thing. Do not associate anybody with me, and make sure that you are kind to your parents. You are kind to your parents. Same order is repeated in 3 other occasions in Surah Baqarah when talking about Bani Israel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ لَا تَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهَ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. In Surah Nisa, وَأَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Same commands, exactly in the same manner. Do not associate with anyone and be kind to your parents. And Surah Luqman, a different command, Anishkuru li wali walidayka, that be thankful to me and be thankful to your parents. Be thankful to me and be thankful to your parents. Maulana Mufti Ashik Ali Rahmatullah alayhi, he writes in his book, he says that just like being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not mean that we say Alhamdulillah a few times in a day, but it means that throughout our lives we are, from our actions and our words, we are in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is truly being thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, when he says Anishkuru li, and the explanation of that is that in every aspect of your life be thankful to me and be obedient to me. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says wali walidayka, that for your parents, it means the same thing, that for the rest of your life be thankful to your parents through your actions, through your words, by saying good things to them, by praising them, by accepting the difficulties that come your way because of your parents, by spending on them, by making them happy, by fulfilling their needs, by giving them that comfort the way they gave you comfort when you needed it. One Sahabi, he came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says that what is the most important thing that needs to be done? He said, pray. Make sure that you pray 5 times a day. And he said, after that, be kind to your parents. The most important thing after your namaz, after Haqooq Allah, the first thing in Haqooq al-Ibad is your parents. Or Sahabi came and asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, who do I take care of most? He said, your mother. He said, then. He said, your mother. He said, then. He said, your mother. And he said, then. He said, then your father. The place that our parents have is too high. And in that, the place that our mother has is even higher. And the person, we still give respect to our father and we take it casually with our mothers. But the mother has even higher place of respect. Mothers have a lot of place of respect. Unfortunately, we, especially once we get married, in our conflicts with the conflicts that exist between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, a lot of people end up, giving up their rights of their parents in that. There are rights of the wives and there are rights of the parents, and they both need to be fulfilled. It's a much bigger discussion that needs to happen on that topic. I'll not go into that right now, because if I do, then I will take up all the time. But I'll just suffice it to say that do not undermine the rights of your parents. Do not undermine the rights of your parents. If the parents are being unfair, if they're asking something, simply move back, move out, become quiet. Do not become disrespectful. Do not scold your parents. Do not scold your parents. Leave it at that. Your doing sabr is much better than you reacting. You being quiet, you will get rewarded. Your reaction will lead to destruction. And the other thing that we are becoming casual about, and this is what happens when we fully do not understand the deen. If our fathers ask something of us, if our father is ever in need of money, it should not come to the stage where the father has to ask for us to give him money. We should simply be putting out whatever we have for our father, for our parents. We should. There's a when we fully do not understand deen, we do not know all aspects of it. We give loan to our father, and we want to have two witnesses to write down that loan. Imagine what would be going down on the heart of the father when we would say that I want to write down this loan in front of two witnesses so that you can pay this back to me. Imagine what would go on to the heart of the father. And you are doing this thinking that this is what the deen says, that when you give out loan, that you give out with two people as witness. Yes, you should, but not to your father. Not to your father. Your father owns everything what you have. It is kind of him that he is even asking you to give it to him, not taking it himself. There was once a Sahabi, he came to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and he said that, Ya Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, my father takes whatever I have. So he complained about his father to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that call him over, I want to speak to your father. So the father came, and as he was coming, he recited some few words of poetry in his heart. So before the father reached Jibreel alayhi salam, he came to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and he said that this father has recited some words which has shaken the heavens, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to ask him to recite those words to you. So when that father, he reached, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, what's the matter? He said, the son said that he takes all my mal, he takes everything from me. And the father said that, Ya Rasulullah, ask him that do I take anything beyond that needs to be spent on his aunts, on taking care of his siblings, and for fulfilling my own basic needs. I take only the whatever needs to be done to take care of the family. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I've understood the matter. It's clear to me what you're doing. Then he said, I want you to now tell me what is it that you recited when you were coming over, which even your own ears didn't hear. So that Sahabi, the father, he said that, Rasulullah, it is no surprise that you are the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you get to know things that even my ear do not know that I said. So he said, I just said few words of poetry. So Rasulullah said, read them out to me. So he said, it's a long poem, I won't read the whole thing, but the gist of it, he said that I took care of your needs in the hope that when you would grow up, you will take care of me. When at night, if ever when you were a child, at night you would fall sick, I would sit by your side to take care of you. When you would be ill, I would want to take your illness and give my health to you. I would fear that death may come to you, although I knew that death is there for everyone. But yet I wanted my life to be given to you so that you live and I take your death. But when you reach that age of power, you reach that age of strength, you changed your ways with me. And you started making me feel as though you were doing a favor to me. If you cannot fulfill your rights, my rights as a father, then at least you might have treated me like that, like one treats one's neighbor. At least you could have been a good neighbor to me. As he finished this poetry, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had his tears flowing down his eyes. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was literally crying, and he was raging. His cheeks were red with anger. He turned to his son, the man's son, and he held him by his collar and he said, Anta wa maluka li abik, Anta wa maluka li abik, Anta wa maluka li abik. You and your wealth is that of your father. You and your wealth belong to your father. You and your wealth belong to your father. All of it belongs to your father. There's nothing in between. There was once Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, he wanted to know that who would be my neighbor in Jannah. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, I want to know who would be my neighbor. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that go to that place in the market and you will find that guy. So he went and he saw that there's this butcher, he's sitting, and he's just doing what a butcher does. He's just chopping meat and he's giving it to his things. Sayyidina Musa, he was a bit like, oh, butcher would be my neighbor. What's going on over here? I thought it would be somebody sitting on a musalla and doing long prayers and fasting and all of that. And here is this guy who's, was just cutting his meat and giving it to his whoever is coming to his shop. So how's he going to be my neighbor? So he said, okay, let me investigate. So he went to him and he said, I want to go to your place with you. I want to spend the day with you. So he said, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Come along. So he went to his house, and as soon as he entered his house, he saw that there was this person who was there, the old lady who was lying on a bed, and she is in such old age that she can't even move. She's completely crippled. So this guy goes, he goes, says salam to her, raises her from her bed, puts her on the sofa, and then he goes, he cooks the meal for her, and he comes back, and then with his own hands he starts feeding her one morsel after the other, one morsel after the other. And as he feeds her, the mother, she's saying something. The lips of the mother are moving and she's saying something. So Musa alayhi salam, from the distance, he couldn't hear. So when the guy came back, he said, what is it that your mother was saying? He said, oh, she's just being a mom. He said, no, I want to know, what is it that your mother was saying? He said that actually, when I come back and the first thing I do, I take care of her, and the last thing I do before going out is I take care of her. So my brother, out of her kindness, she makes this dua for me that may Allah give you Jannah and may you be given the neighborhood of Musa alayhi salam. May you be given the neighborhood of Musa alayhi salam. So Allah listened to the dua of that mother, and then dua made him become the neighbor of Musa alayhi salam. 3 duas are never rejected, and one of those duas are the duas that leaves the lip of the parents. The dua that leaves the lips of the parents, before it leaves the lips of the parents, it is an accepted dua. That's how much the dua that comes out from the parents' heart values in sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not underestimate what we can do for your parents. Make dua for the parents, be kind to the parents. If you haven't spoken to your parents, speak to your parents. If you haven't met your parents, go out and meet your parents. If you haven't spent time with your parents, put out the effort, make a commitment that this Ramadan, let me go and spend time with my parents. Put that on high priority. Say that if your parents are alone, if their parents are living by themselves, there is nobody to take care of them, leave everything aside and say that this Ramadan I'll go spend time with my parents. I'll spend time serving my parents. I will go and do khidmat of my parents. And every day of that Ramadan, I will make sure that my parents, when they raise their hands, dua comes out of their heart for me. I'm in so much need of the duas of my parents. Make an effort, a dua that comes from a heart. We go and tell people, please remember us in your duas, please keep me in your duas. And there are some people for whom we make dua ourselves without them ever having to say a word to us. We should think that, who is it that we make dua for without having them a say? And you will find out they are mostly those who are being nice to us, who are doing some goodness to us, who are doing some help, who have helped us. And when we make dua for others out without having anything said to them, or without them asking us to do so, that is a really accepted dua. And when our parents make that dua for us, we cannot even imagine what that weight that carries. Just one last incident, and then inshallah I'll wrap up. There was a person named Awais Karni. He was from Karn, a place called Karn. He was in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he could not come and meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and profess his iman in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he's not given the level of a sahabi. He is not called a sahabi. We don't say Awais Karni radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and we grade him as a tabi. But you know why he could not come and meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He could not come and meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam because he wanted to serve his mother. Because there was nobody else to take care of his mother, and he spent all the time taking care of his mother. In fact, he once asked his mother, can I please go and meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? his mother said, okay, you can, but don't spend time, come back quickly. So he traveled from Karm, he came to Medina Munawwara. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was on a journey, he had gone to some ghazwa. He could not wait for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam because his mother had said, don't spend time, come back quickly. He came back. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came, he found out there is a person who came to meet him but had to leave because his mother had said, come back quickly. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left his jubba, his shirt, with Umar and Ali anhu. And then after that, Rasulullah passed away. So every year after that, Umar anhu and Ali anhu on the Hajj would go to the people of, when the different groups would gather, they would ask that where's the group which has come from Karn? And when the people of Karn would stand, he will say, where is Awais? Is there anybody named Awais in you? And somebody would say yes, or somebody would say no. And then in one of the Hajj, they said, where the people of Karn, is there anybody named Awais? So they said, yes, there is a person named Awais with us, and he is sitting over there in isolation. So Umar went over there and he said, what's your name? He said, Abdullah. He said, no, give me your full name, your real name. So he said, who are you? He said, I am Umar. So he said, are you the Khalifa? Are you Amirul Mu'mineen? He said, yes, I am. So he said, I'm sorry, Amirul Mu'mineen, if I had known, I would have said your name properly. But why are you asking for me? He said, what's your name? He said, my name is Awais. So he said, as soon as he said that, Amirul Mu'mineen, hugged him, kissed his forehead, and he said, raise your hands. He said, raise your hands and make dua for me. Raise your hands and make dua for me. He said, yeah, Amirul Mu'mineen, what are you saying? You're asking me to make dua for you? Who am I to make dua for you? He said, no, raise your hands and make dua for me. So he raised his hand and make dua for me. He said, Alhamdulillah. He said, I have a gift for you. And he, brought that jubba, the shirt of Rasulullah, and he gave him that. He said, Rasulullah said to me and Ali that when Awais comes, give this jubba of mine to him and ask him to make dua for the maghfirat of this ummah and get his duas. Ali Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu were asked to get the duas of Awais Karni Rahmatullah Alayh because of the way he served his mother. Allahu Akbar Kabira. That's how big it is. That's how big it is. That's how big it is. Please, please, please sort your relationships with your parents. Make sure that you have a very, very good relationship with your parents. Make sure that whatever has happened in past, you wipe it away, you go and you ask your parents for forgiveness. You ask them that I have not fulfilled your rights. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Do not raise your voice with them. If you have done any favor to them, do not remind them of that favor that you have done to them. Do not say that I did that for you then, I did this for you then. If they want something, make sure that it happens even before it comes out of their mouth. When you serve your parents like this, that is when Allah is truly pleased with you. Truly pleased with you. A person who looks at his father with love and a father who looks at his child with love, that child gets the reward of an accepted Hajj. We do not know if we go for Hajj that our Hajj will be accepted or not, but just by looking at our father with love and him looking at us with love, we get the reward of an accepted Hajj. If you can spend your Ramadan with your parents, serve them to the full. We do not know. I have seen so many parents being taken away because of this disease that we have. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give long life to our parents. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to serve them. I lost my mother-in-law. And your in-laws are also your parents. They make dua for you as well. Do not treat them any different. Do not treat them any different. Serve your parents. Serve your parents. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.